the only thing that determines what country you belong to is where you happen to be born? What is a country anyway? It's not, you know, Purple Mountain's majesty or fruited plains, whatever the hell that means. Like, America isn't a place, it's an ideal. It could happen in the Amazon rainforest and still be America. You know, for that matter, I'm the child of immigrants. You know, my father's lived and worked in this country for the past 3 decades, and he's somehow more or less American than some redneck who uses Osama bin Laden for toilet paper? How the hell do you measure something like that?
I spent a night in jail. Now, as for exactly what landed me there, I would be so delighted to never have to go into any of the details regarding that. Besides, you know, other people's theories are so much more exotic and exciting than the reality, because I have heard everything from attempted terrorism to indecent public condescension.
So, I'm a playwright in Minneapolis, which, you know, means I find myself operating in a pretty lefty crowd most of the time, and most of my energy goes toward arguing with that and musing about how I really fucking can't stand Democrats. So I was startled to be reminded of the fact that I'd almost totally forgotten that I really fucking can't stand Republicans.
I want you, she whispered. I want you to eat me like you're an angry Alaskan grizzly and I'm Timothy Treadwell.
Of course I pay taxes. I pay taxes for exactly the same reason that I hate paying taxes, because I think that my government is terrifying and stupid. I don't need the IRS kicking my door down and taking my meticulously alphabetized collection of Tijuana Bibles.
You will never find a more stammering, awkward, inarticulate group of people than Libertarian.
Now bend over, and I'll do to you what the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries wants to keep the federal government from doing to the state of Alaska.
You know, okay, maybe he tried to make a run for it, and maybe he took a drunken swing at the arresting officer, and maybe he made a couple of off-color remarks about law enforcement professionals, and maybe he's been hiding from the cops ever since an incident a few years back involving a bleeding hooker, 9 pounds of cocaine, and the soiled image of Tigger Gore.
I don't blame the media. People just don't care about third-party politics. For good reason. I mean, why should they? I am so far in the minority that my activism is a joke, a punchline that stopped being funny years ago. This goes beyond rooting for the underdog. It is not rooting for the Giants. It's more like, say, rooting for the Twins, but, you know, during the Super Bowl.
You know that whoever gets elected is gonna fuck you over, so why not vote for someone that you actually want to get fucked by?
Okay, now, I'm not a white male, at least not predominantly so, and as I mentioned before, I'm in an environment right now where race is really important. See, because Chinese men, we are not that physically intimidating. You know, we're not that tall, we're not that built. I mean, well, damn, you know, we're not that built, and we have exactly one thing going for us in a fight, that our opponent recognizes that there is a possibility, no matter how remote, that we might know Kung Fu.
Because I am a great believer in the power of negative thought. And in an age of affirmation, of self-help and self-love, of the rebirth of wide-eyed idealism and the power of positive thinking, I am so happy to be a champion of skepticism and doubt.
There is nothing worse than certainty. Doubt makes us weak. That is why it's so important, because I have wasted too much of my life trying to be powerful.
I'm sick with self-love, or self-loathing. After all, they're both essentially the same thing.